First of all, I was drafted in the military in 1956. And in that time period, economics was kind of bad, and I was fortunate enough to be promoted to a sergeant real quick. And I elected to then reenlist and decided to make the military career. My first assignment was a U.S. Army garrison in Gießen, Germany, and I was a administrative, a clerk typist. So I decided after a period of time that was not for me. So I was asked to be sent to Fort Benning, Georgia, to the infantry, and spent some time with the infantry, and it was really fine. But it still did not take care of my needs. And I heard of an organization called Special Forces. And this Special Forces is what some people call a Green Beret. And I was a triple volunteer. I had to volunteer for the Army. I had to volunteer to be a paratrooper, and I had to volunteer to be in Special Forces. So if I had really known what I was getting into, I would have probably gone another direction. So my first trip into the country of Vietnam was in early 1963. And at this time period, I went in civilian clothes and was working as an advisor to the South Vietnamese forces. Being an advisor to the organization required operational patrols and everything else with it. So it was also fighting consistently. But then I was sent back to the country again in 1965, spent 65 and 66 there. And this is the year that I was involved in heavy combat, where our team, I was assigned right in the middle of the Ashau Valley, and this was a major infiltration route from the north to the south. I was in the team. I was the intelligence sergeant, and we had two of the North Vietnamese enemy soldiers give up and come in. In interrogating them, they told us that we were going to be attacked by a large force at a certain time period when the weather was bad. Well, this happened exactly as they said, so we knew that we were going to be a hit, and we didn't know with so many, but we had about 400 indigenous there, and we were probably outnumbered 10 to 1 in the battle, and they had the full elements of a full division hit us, and we were hit from all sides. They had the anti-aircraft fire, they had the artillery, and so forth. And like I said, it was a tremendous battle, and we were eventually ordered by our higher headquarters to evacuate the camp, that they were going to attempt a helicopter rescue for us. They put 18 helicopters in the air, and only 8 of them made it. 10 of them were shot down. And so when I come out myself, and the executive officer went back into the camp to get a wounded American on a stretcher. And when we come out, we didn't have a ride, so we had to hit the jungle. And being in the jungle, I was fortunate enough at that time period that I had a weapon, an old sawed-off shotgun that I used in the jungle. I took this weapon, placed it on my little radio, stood in water, grounded this, and talked with an aircraft. The aircraft sent a helicopter in to pick us up. The helicopter come in, we cut a little landing strip for the chopper. The helicopter come in to pick us up. They shot the helicopter down. So we had to go again, and this is the night then that the North Vietnamese run us all night, and this was 4 Americans, and we had 4 Chinese Hmong mercenaries with us, and they run us, and this is the night they had us surrounded in this triple canopy jungle. We started hearing a noise, and then some eyes, and it was about a 400-pound Indonesian tiger stalked us. Now this tiger had been seen before, and the tiger was living well. It was feeding off the bodies of the killed soldiers in that area. So the North Vietnamese soldiers that had us surrounded was more afraid of the tiger than they were us, and they backed off and give us room to go. The bottom line, we were trained so well and so forth that we had just made up our mind, the Americans made up our mind that we were not going to be taken prisoner, and that we was going to just fight, like I said, fight only with mortars, machine gun. I utilized mortar, machine guns, used weapons, hand grenades, and even got into some hand grenade fights with the North Vietnamese. And this is the way the battle went. Yes. Well, I had a large number. I had a couple of gunshot wounds, and most of it was artillery shrapnel, hand grenade shrapnel, and this type of thing, yes. The recovery was only 2 or 3 weeks from this, and then after that battle, I was sent right back to another location doing the same thing. And in '71, I worked with an organization called the Studies and Observation Group, and this was a top secret unit that did not exist at that time frame. And this is what was one of the major delays on the award. In 1966, I was recommended for the Medal of Honor. I received the second highest award, the Distinguished Service Cross, and did not receive the Medal of Honor until 2014. That was 48 years later, and the reason behind that was the classification of everything that I was doing. So that the part of it was declassified to the point that they could be written about. Since that period of time, or after that period of time, I did special operations throughout the world, and when I retired out of the military after 22 years, it had the record shown that I had traveled in 177 different countries, most of those countries as an uninvited guest. I received a call from someone in the Pentagon, and they told me at a certain day and a certain time there was to be an official call me. I anticipated that it was someone that was involved in the POWMIA type of a recovery system. But when the telephone rang at that day, it was the President of the United States. And the President said he had approved the Medal of Honor for me, and I would receive some information from his staff. Well, his staff come right on, and they put a gag order on me. About 2.5 months later, then I was in the White House. The President did award the medal. The following day, I was over in the Pentagon with the Secretary of Defense, and they put my picture and so forth in the Hall of Heroes there. And then the next day, I was over in the Capitol building with our congressmen and senators from the state of Alabama. And from that time period, then I become one of the few living Medal of Honor recipients, and we were treated with highly respect, highly dignity everywhere we go. We are, when we're wearing a medal, it is saluted by any military person at any rank. Yes.